dying. If they do die, we'll finish this up another time. But for right now, I've got Neil Bennett's settings up, and these settings are pretty much the ones he sent me to say, you know, try these and then adjust from there. This might help you. So I'm gonna see what we got. So this is on flow, but with Neil Bennett's settings. So let's go ahead and get through this and try it out. You know, the first test is the hill, right? So let's see if if we can get up the hill here. Oh, wow, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, he clearly knew what he was talking about because I made it up that. And, and I had plenty of room. So I do feel like from Neil's settings, all right, I'm feeling a little squirrely, I'm not gonna lie. So I may need to tighten up the roll here a little bit. And I do feel like the nose is just coming up a little too high. I think the setting he gave me is 2, maybe 1 and a half, maybe 2, maybe a touch too high. But yeah. Oh wow, yeah. 2 is definitely a touch too high. I'll definitely adjust that right now. So I'm gonna go ahead because I feel like it's just, I don't know if he was trying to get me up to inclines with that, but I'm gonna go ahead and change that to a 1 and then see if I can get that over the hill again there. So I'm adjusting the stance profile to 1.5 and see how that helps out. All right, that was just a little too high. I could have gotten up that with 1 probably. The gradient tracking was probably the biggest help to getting up that hill. Not necessarily nose being up, but that nose being up will help me get up some of those logs that I've been trying to get up on the other trail. So let's just go ahead and get through this. That 0.5 in the stance really helps. So I still feel like it's a little too high for me. I may go to 1.5. It just kind of bucks the nose up a little bit too. I don't know, I feel, it doesn't feel good being this high on the nose. I'm gonna see what that feels like going down that one section we got over here. Oh yeah, I do feel like that gradient tracking is probably the biggest factor here. The other settings, maybe here, there, hit or miss, but definitely increasing the gradient tracking. How you doing? All right. Ooh, excuse me.
Out of the way. Come here. Come here. Nolly, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Nolly.
I'm sorry. I think I scared this guy's dog. He's still on the trail. I'm about to just go. I hope Nolly doesn't. Nolly, oh Nolly. I'm sorry, Neil Bennett. This dog's messing up my test run of your settings here. I hope Nolly goes back or doesn't bite me. Nolly's like, let's run. This dog's just running. He's messing up my run. All right, so back to it's heel to toe. I'm going to need to tighten it up. All right, downhill, let's see if the nose is too high. Do I get a little scrape? Okay, no scrape, we're good to go. I mean, I fully commit, so we typically don't have no problems there, but. All right, so it's not too high as the scrape. A little berm action, all right. Good on the berm action, I didn't feel uneasy right there. I hope this, whew. Okay, I'm catching up to him, but as soon as I catch up to him, he just takes off on me again. Okay, here we go. Here's that hill I go down right here. I'm hoping I don't scrape tail right here. Oh, that felt super good. Oh, that felt good. High nose or not, that didn't really affect it at all. Okay. Yeah, the nose is too high for the chatter. So when I hit some chatter, the nose wants to come up a bit, you know? And then that starts to feel a little weird. That was a line I don't typically take right there. But yeah, a little bit of I'm gonna make some changes on this. But the biggest, oh, thank God that dog went off the trail. Whew. I mean, maybe I can cut him off and like scare him back the other way. I think that's what I should do. I kind of feel obligated now. But let me finish the run. Yeah, that nose is still too high. Maybe 1 would be good. Like I said, that gradient tracking is what I think the biggest difference here is. Um, the thing that helped me get up that hill, I think, was the gradient tracking. I don't see this freaking dog though. Oh, dude, this dude's dog is out. I'm gonna try to flush him back the other way. Go back the other way, doggy. Oh, come on. Come on. Aw. Oh, come on. Aw. Can I grab your leash here? Come on. I gotta take this dude, the dog, back to him. Now I gotta stop my recording. All right, we'll pick this back up at some point. Ouch. All right, so I still have this dog. I brought the dog back through the trail and the owner wasn't there. So I tied him up to a tree, and if he's still there when I get done finishing the rest of my testing, I'm just gonna take him home with me and then figure out what to do then. He's an awesome one-wheel dog, like awesome one-wheel dog. He knew when to speed up, knew when to slow down. So what I'm gonna do is adjust the rise of the nose down till about 1.2. 1.2 should be enough for me. Actually, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go to 1 because 1.2 is just too much, I think. How you doing?
See a black Labrador Retriever?
Right there.
No shit.
Yep. I was running through the trail and I saw him running and I caught up to him.
Okay.
I came back here, the guy was gone, so I tied him up to the tree, hoping he'd come back for him.
Oh, great. Okay, because I got the guy's number.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much.
I have his number. Hi, honey.
All right, so braking I'm gonna keep there. Aggressiveness, I'm gonna keep everything the same except for that yaw and roll. I want it to be slower, so I'm gonna put that down to -2. He had it at +4. I'm gonna put both of those down to -2. See how I like that. And everything else I'm gonna keep the same. I'll take those settings and put those up on the screen for you so you can see what I did there. But basically all I did was change his yaw and roll from +4 to -2 because I don't want the yaw or roll that much on me. I can muscle it into position if I need to. And as far as the nose goes, I brought that down to 1 instead of 2. That was just too stiff for me. I may bring it up to 1.2. 1.5 was still too high too, but 1.2 is where I think I'm gonna wanna have it at. All right, so let's get going, you guys. Excuse me, sir, can I just slide through here right to your right there?
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate it, thank you.
I'm having trouble dialing this guy's number.
If you need help, I'll be back through here, and I can take him, and if you want to give me his number, I can keep trying to contact him and give you my number or whatever. Oh, no problem. All right, so as you can see, I climbed up that no problem. I had way more than enough nose clearance there. Yeah, so, and I still feel like at 1, it may be too high. The gradient tracking seems to be on point. Maybe I can drop that down to, it was at 0.5 originally, and maybe I can drop that down to 0.5 considering how good the gradient tracking is. Or maybe the gradient tracking is just a little bit too strong for where I'm at. You know what I mean? Because it does seem like it's a little too strong for what I want. I don't want it to be so aggressive. And actually, I think I'm going to change that right now because I'm realizing it's not the height of the nose, it's really the gradient tracking. Let's stop and check that right now. So the nose is at 1, so I brought that down and it still feels super high. So I think the gradient angle may be what I'm thinking of too. So maybe change that. So maybe I'm gonna change the strength down, keep the strength at 4, but the angle, so maybe I'll go to 13 for the angle. So let's see if the angle, so right now the only thing I've changed is the angle. Let's see if that brings the nose down a bit for me, because right now it still feels a little too high. All right. So I changed the angle. Okay, I'm feeling level. I'm not feeling like the nose is high or low. I'm just feeling, okay, this is where I want to be. Maybe even a tad bit, maybe even one more down, go from like 12 to 11 on that gradient tracking percentage. The yaw and roll, how does it feel? I'm not gonna lie, I would like it to even be more stiff, but this is not bad. It's an improvement. I'm still feeling like I got a little bit too much aggression in the motor. Chatter is causing the wheel to spin a little bit, and I don't want the wheel to be that aggressive to where chatter is causing some spin, because I don't want it to get some spin on some loose dirt and cause me a slip issue. Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm feeling like it might be a little too aggressive still. And yeah, that tracking gradient could come down 1% for sure. I'm feeling almost level on the board for my weight, and Neil Bennett told me that your weight does play a part in that, which it makes total sense. So for my weight, I think, yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm liking this right here. I really do think I'm gonna try to get some shapings in Highline. Hello, how you doing? I think I'm gonna get some shapings in Highline, because Highline seems to be a little more tight as far as the yaw and roll goes. And even me knocking this down to 2, I don't feel like it changed the squirreliness of flow for me. I like flow on the street, but I'm not sure if I like it on the trail. But I'm feeling supremely confident, right? Way more confident than I was on any setting thus far. And I think the only major difference would be the gradient tracking, for sure. You get the gradient tracking right, everything else is just taste touching, you know what I'm saying? To your taste. But gradient tracking is something that you're gonna have to get right. I don't care what your tastes are. You're gonna have to get that gradient tracking correct if you want there to be some smoothness to your ride and some predictability to your ride. You're gonna have to get that gradient tracking working. And that's where you start. Get your gradient tracking right. You may not have to touch anything else, to be honest with you, depending on what shaping you defaultly want to start with. And I think that's the key, right? Try all the basic shapings and then find out which one you like the best, and then apply your settings to that shaping and fine tune that, and start with the gradient tracking. Like I said, if you start with the gradient tracking and you get a good setting for your gradient tracking for your weight and the way you like to sit on the board, the way you feel comfortable coming up and down hills, I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing here. I'm gonna try some other settings. I think I got one more setting to try. One more person sent me a setting that I'm gonna throw on here, and I'm gonna give that a try and see what I like about that. But as far as adjusting Neil Bennett's setting, I think we pretty much isolated what the big differences are going to be, and that's the gradient tracking and maybe the strength at which the nose angles up. Now I'm going to go through one more time trying the Highline setting as default, and the tweaks I made was I raised the nose up 0.5, braking at 2. I got the aggressiveness profile at 0 and the dynamic response at 0. I felt like sometimes it were a little bit too aggressive, the motor was, on some of the chatter. I didn't like that, so I'm gonna just start baseline with the aggressiveness profile and responsiveness there. Yaw and turn compensation. On flow, it always felt a little loose to me. On Highline, it feels a little tighter, so baseline. So I'll drop that just by 2, just to see, how that feels. Jump re-engagement timer, I stuck with my baseline that Neil suggested, and I'm at the single zone for the zone engagement. For strength gradient tracking, I got a +3. And response speed is at a +1. Max angle is at a 12. So what I did was I took 1 off the strength and kept the angle at 12 from the flow settings I had. because I still felt like the nose was up a little bit too high, but I do think that was attributed to my what is that, stance profile rather than the gradient tracking, whereas my max angle was bringing the nose up some, but I feel like 12% is good. Even though it still felt a little high, I didn't drop it down to 11 or 10 like I thought, because I think if I just take the strength down by 1, it'll level the board out a little bit. But we'll see. I'm more concerned about just being level and being able to get up hills comfortably. And when I'm up the hills comfortably, I want to be level. I don't want to be nose down or nose up. I want to feel like I'm level. So that's where I'm at with that. We're going to save this and test it out. And this will be the last test of the day, and then I'll kind of just tweak it from here on out, and I'll update what settings I kind of land on in like another week or so, because I'll be testing these. And now that I know how big of a factor the gradient tracking is, and I'm really seriously thinking that that's the come away from all of this, is that I just didn't have the gradient tracking where it should have been, and I think that may be where you need to start at when you do your whole shaping settings. Is start with gradient tracking, make sure that's good, and then adjust from there. Because like right now, I'm not having a problem with this hill at all. Even at 0.5, the gradient tracking is the biggest factor there, not the nose being up. But I did bring the nose up a little because, like I said, I do want to feel like I'm level. Right now, the board feels incredible. This feels really good. I don't feel it squirrely heel to toe. I may need to adjust that a little bit more. I did get a little bit of aggressiveness there. Yeah, I'm still feeling a little squirrely heel to toe. I think I may be putting it -2. I think I need to tighten it up. So let me go ahead and tighten that up real quick. We're gonna drop that yaw and roll down to 4. Okay. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling level. I don't know if the board looks level. Well, yeah, I'm feeling level. All right, that's a good sign. I'm feeling level. The gradient tracking is good. Okay, good. Okay, now that was a good turn. I may need to bring the aggressiveness down a bit. I like it a little bit more mellow. Yeah, I'm liking the way this feels right now. Yeah, I think it's a little too aggressive. I think the responsiveness is too responsive too. So I'm gonna have to drop that responsiveness down. But as far as me getting the angle on these turns, I think I'm getting a better, whoa. I think I'm getting a better angle on them. Whoa, yeah, just a little too aggressive. Even there, you can hear it and feel it. I think I'm gonna drop the aggressiveness down. The response is a little too fast too for the nose rising. Yeah, I'm still feeling a little too squirrely, heel to toe. I don't know what that is, man. I really don't know what that is. I may have to go to Apex. Apex felt super stable. This responsiveness is too much. Yeah, it's too responsive on the gradient tracking. It's responding too quickly. Yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is adjust this a little bit more. So basically, aggressiveness profile, leaving at 0. Dynamic response, I'm dropping down to 1. Response speed, dropping down to 0 for the gradient tracking. I think that might help me in the end there. Save and apply. All right, let's finish this out. See what we got. I think it's the last change I'm gonna make. Any other changes, I'll just assess how I feel about this particular thing. Oh, wow. Yeah, now I'm feeling stable. I think that's, okay, yeah. Yeah, now I'm feeling stable. I had that mix rate low when it should be high to bring some more stability to the situation. The yaw and roll, I want it to be low So now that works in my favor. Oh yeah, that feels super good. Yeah, I'm feeling super confident and good right now on this. Sorry about it, excuse me. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so I hit a little rock that I'm not used to hitting on a one wheel because of how that guy was coming up. But yeah, this feels super good. This feels super good. Got a little tail hit there that I haven't gotten. I may want to adjust how it turns a little more now. Might be a little bit too stiff right now, but I like that stiffness. I can definitely work from there. So at least I know what controls that. Yeah, this is cool. So basically what I'm gonna do is get back to the studio and talk about what I've learned here, what I think each setting does, and people can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I'm probably wrong, and I know people will tell me I'm wrong, so there's no problem there. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Yeah, not being able to turn is not good. Like a stability trade-off there. I still feel like the tire has a little bit too much spin, though. I want to be able to adjust that, but you know, we'll get into it. Like I'm learning. I'm not a pro, I'm not a professional at this. I never claimed to be. I'm just a guy with a camera who's willing to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So don't expect me to know everything because I don't. I'm learning this stuff with you guys, or you know more than I, and you can share it with me and teach me. And that way I'm the only one learning. But regardless, I'm definitely gonna be learning because I don't know everything. All right, you guys. That's gonna be it for me. I'm gonna take this back to the studio and finish this off and talk about my final thoughts. All right, see you then. So what did I think? You kind of saw there that I came away with the conclusion that the gradient tracking is probably the most important shaping setting you can deal with. As a matter of fact, I mentioned it in my real-time feedback there, but to reiterate, when you get a one wheel, the gradient tracking is the first setting, in my opinion, that you should get right. You should do that right off the top. That's going to set a good baseline for you, which I'm going to hit on here as I talk about how I felt about the situation, and I have thoughts. I got them. You want to get your settings for the gradient tracking good for your particular weight, how you like to ride, how you like the nose to handle. After you get the gradient tracking right, whatever you can't configure with that, whatever doesn't feel right after you get that right, then you go into the other settings, in my opinion, and change those things, like raising the nose. If you got the gradient tracking spot on, you know that, hey, it's tracking the terrain like I want it to track and raising and lowering like it should at the right times, at the right speed, at the right strength. Get that right first. That's the first thing. After you get that right, then you're going to want to adjust that nose, in my opinion. The nose should be the second thing you get right, because after gradient tracking is tracking the terrain correctly, you're going to want to make sure that nose is lifted to the proper height for the terrain that you like to ride. In my mind, 0.5 seems to be good. I'm going to do more testing, so don't take that as the gospel. But 0.5 seems to be where I'm going to land at. I have it at 1 right now, as per the video you just saw, but I'm going to reduce it to 0.5 just to see what it feels like. And then I'm going to leave it at 0.5 and adjust the gradient tracking and see if I can get that to level out the board like I want to. And that's the experience I'm looking for. I'm looking for a level board. Maybe the nose slightly lower than the tail, slightly. But definitely enough strength and enough gradient tracking it'll know when I'm going up an incline, the slightest incline, and react to that, so I don't have to worry about the nose, you know. So I like the look of the nose being low. I like the stability of the nose being low. I don't like the practical application of the nose being low and what it means for the type of terrain that I like to ride. So, all right, so we touched on how I feel about getting a baseline for your particular ride and how you like to ride on your one wheel. So, like I said before, I talked about how I didn't want to have to configure anything, which is why I waited till Future Motion came out with their angled rails, so there was nothing I had to do. But I'm still having, as you can see, learn a lot and configure a lot and do a lot just to get the ride how I would like it, and it still is not there yet, which is one of the problems I have. When I bought the Pint, you could pick one of the default settings and it was worked like it should have. XR, pick one of the default settings, it worked like it should have. The GT is where you have to start tweaking your board came into play, but even then, you could rock with one of the default settings and you'd still be good in 90% of situations. Like my GT is doing things that I can do things on my GT that I cannot do on the Rally Edition just yet. When I get the settings correct, I have no doubt that I'll be able to do those things and more on the GTS Rally Edition. But as of right now, stock settings or default settings on my GT, even with the problem I have with the shaft, I can still do things that I simply cannot do on the Rally Edition. That's just the short and skinny of it. Yeah, and for it not to be better out of the box than your previous generation board is a huge misstep, in my opinion. I definitely think this gradient tracking thing is something that should be fixed at the factory for sure, for everyone's sake. You know, not just for me, and because I'm fixing it, so I'm not saying this for me. I'm saying this for everybody else that comes after, or for people who just don't know enough. So when they do get their new Onewheel, it's an awesome experience out of the box. So they don't have to go digging and searching online for how to configure their Onewheel. It'll just work for 90% of what they want to do, which to me is the way to go. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for me. And like I said, I'm going to be doing more of these shaping tests just to get a better handle for what these things actually do and how I can better express what they do to you guys out there who may not want to go through all of this and don't know what they actually mean yet. So stay tuned for that. Go ahead and get subscribed if you want to see more, like I said, and go ahead and like this video for me if you don't mind. All right, you guys, till next time, take care. Oh, and definitely be safe.